Well, hi and welcome. I am just thrilled to be here with these fabulous Passing the Torch, now almost graduates, getting ready to have dinner together.
A few more hours.
So what a year this has been. Extraordinary, really. Just such a gift. And, we talk about how, what do we want? What do you want out of the program, and what I'm always so moved by is how we're all altered. There's no way that I can't grow in being with you. So it's just such a gift, and to get to know each of you has been amazing. And this is the beginning, this is phase one of our journey, because we have the rest of our lives. So I'm just thrilled to be here. We're studying relationship with gravity, spatial orientation, and what is that, So, yeah. Ta-da!
So yeah, this has been just a really great year. It has really helped me to find, even after years of teaching, to really find my voice and find where I'm coming from as a teacher and how do I go into the future as a teacher, finding who I am, rediscovering who I am. It's just been really wonderful.
Thank you, Jenna.
I had very high expectations, and they have been met and exceeded. And one of the I knew that I was going to grow and transform with the information that Wendy had to share. But what's been really very cool is getting to know these people and going on this journey together and feeling like it's really a collaborative beginning. And I am holding Tiny Elvis in my arms. Tiny Elvis is a bit of our mascot.
Our constant companion.
Our constant companion. And he kind of adds a little levity.
He does.
Gives us an opportunity to check out his bones. And he always looks this happy.
Yeah, and it's that sense of humor and lightness that has just been, for me, just so helpful throughout the course of this year. It's like this in the breath, right? And it's like, I feel like all of us, each of you has helped me take some deep breaths and find my breath when I really needed it over the course of this year. And the friendships that I feel like I have formed are just no words. So, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a very important year for me in my career. So I learned so many things I didn't expect it I would learn from Wendy, also from everyone, the classmate here. So really grateful, and can't wait to come back for phase 2. We have a phase 2.
Beautiful.
Yeah. This beautiful program and beautiful studio just gives exposure to so many things. You get to use pieces of equipment that maybe you haven't purchased for yourself yet.
Now you won't.
But maybe you will in the future. But it's also, it's beyond just learning exercises. And this body that we all carry around, you don't ever go deep enough with it. Like, it just keeps building what we can learn about how we can move and how we can teach. And we're all so passionate about the work that we do. And that is just a gift, to be surrounded by people of deep passion from around the world and from across the country. And it's just been beyond expectations. Mine were low. They were. But they've exceeded all of those expectations.
Fabulous. Hi, I'm Lisa, and this is Tiny Elvis's friend. Sometimes it's called Fred. And my expectations were high, and they were more than exceeded. And I am so fabulously grateful to Wendy and my friends here for all of you teaching me so much and having the opportunity to develop a relationship and explore with you movement in the body and teaching and being in the world and relationships. And I'm grateful to this skull here for helping me learn about my orientation in space, which I need a lot of help with. And I know my clients do too. For teaching me about my inner ear lift and my sphenoid and the dome and some of the top domes of my body can give me uplift. And that's why he likes to hang right here. He doesn't want to go lower.
Just fabulous.
So thank you all.
Fabulous.
Thank you,
Fabulous.
Wendy.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and you can really appreciate the depth of relationship that we've cultivated here, you know, and what we're really clear about is that we are part of a ripple, creating a ripple effect in the world, and that it makes a huge difference to study biointelligence, to study how we relate to one another, how do we relate to ourselves, how is our environment a teacher, and how can we continuously learn what to let go of, what is it that we can let go of, and what emerges out of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Funny. Hi, my name's Carrie, and I've done the Passing the Torch program here at the Pilates Center of Austin with Wendy over this last year. And something that really impacted me in my body that has also had an impact on the way that I can even do something like this and feel like I'm in a more relational space is the relationship between my upper and my lower body. For me, I was very held for many years from a dance background right through the center of my body. And so being able to find release through my chest, through my ribs, and how that integrates through through my pelvis, through my legs, all the way down into my feet, so that I can actually, for the first time, really begin to feel the relationship between my hands and my feet, my head and my hands, my head and my feet, and really let that flow through my whole body. So one exercise that really I had an aha moment was in full hanging on the Swedish ladder that allowed me to feel how release actually gave me the lift. And to feel like I was supported in a full hang, not from a place of stabilization or holding, but from actually being able to feel the release through my tail, through the weight of my pelvis and my legs, to give me the ability to support myself, which then translated into Fascial Dog, where I can actually squat freely for the first time ever. So from here, when I walk back, to be able to actually feel my tail and my head find that relationship from each other without collapsing into my ribs or feeling like I need to pull them in, but actually feeling the relational space between tail and head. There it is, which just freed up my hips, which allows me to actually start to be able to go into a squat without gripping, feeling a sense of openness in my feet. And then to find my hover without forcing it or without trying to do something, and actually just allow the breath of the movement. To give me that relationship of my heels releasing to float my head, to float my inner ear, and then for my hands to be able to reach my tail back and find the release in the front of the hips again to bring me into a squat. And then here, instead of in the past trying to open my chest more or push my heels back more, to feel a softening in my rib cage and my collarbones, that gives me my heel reach and that lift up through the front of my body. which allows me to come into a full squat and being able to actually feel the release of my tail and my head and the freedom in my ankles and my hips that I've never had before. And then to take that into rotation. To feel the relationship of my left and right side, both for my arms and my legs. So that there, instead of having that weight, that heaviness, actually feeling the sense of opposition of my tail and my head to free up my hip, to find connection through my hands, through my feet and through my legs. That's just totally new for me. Without trying to overdo anything. And just doing what's just enough to actually feel good and supported in this movement. And then to be able to pause and just re-find it. So to be able to find rotation from the ground, from the wall, not feel again like I have to do something, but just to allow that movement to start at my feet and to start at my hand. And really travel through my whole body. So that is like a life-changing feeling, because there's freedom without forcing anything, and the ability to be able to feel connected and to be able to receive and give at the same time is just really beautiful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I just am completing the Passing the Torch program 2018-2019 with Wendy at the Pilates Center Boston. This has been an absolutely amazing year of learning new awareness in myself and my body, and working with a group of wonderful, inspiring people. And I am so grateful to have had this experience. I would like to share with you a couple of things that I found useful this year. I can really feel grounded in my feet today after a week of spending time working with my amazing Passing the Torch friends here. And one of the things that I have learned is how grounding my feet can give me support through my body and help me find connections and lift through my body. I've learned about how our connections through the whole body, hands to feet and head to feet, work to support us, how our breath supports us. I learned that the side of the body is sometimes missing, and the back of the body is sometimes missing, and how the side of the body helps me find my back, and this helps me find lift. I always liked rotating and twisting, and I learned why that is. It really does help us find lift and extension, which was often missing for me, and sometimes still is. So I want to share with you a flow that takes us into grounding our feet and lifting up and rotating and using our breath. So we sit on the front of the chair so that we can really find our feet and sit on our sit bones. And we place our hands, fingers inside and thumbs to the outside. And we look ahead. We find our sit bones. We take an inhale and we let the inhale float us up. We exhale and we let the exhale let us find our deep belly connection here and soften. And we inhale to float and we exhale to soften and lift the spine. And inhale to float. And now I found the waterfall in my back. My shoulders are releasing. And my exhale, I soften. So now that I've found some softening, I'm going to add some rotation. And I really feel my feet. I need my feet or I won't be able to do this. Sliding forward and reaching to the back and the front. I'm going to reach head to tail. Reach, and I'm going to come back down. Also very important here are my eyes. I need to look at where I'm going when I'm breathing forward and up, when I'm coming back down, and when I'm going forward here. And when I turn, I need to look, but I keep a soft gaze. So my gaze is not too hard or it's going to tense me up in my chest again. And I might lose my balance. Head to tail, into my feet. And now I stand up. And I found the sides of my legs to support me. And my pelvis feels more free. And my hips that were locked up feel much more free and open. And when I take a walk, I feel less lopsided.
Hi, I'm Walter from Shanghai, China. I was in Pilates Center of Austin in this Passing the Torch program with Wendy and my classmate for this whole year. So I'm going to share with you something I learned. I learned so many things, but time-wise, we're going to choose something I feel really meaningful to myself. So one thing I learned is when you do any movement, Pilates, you don't have to using force too much. You can really relaxing yourself into the movement, so the movement will become more efficient and graceful. So one of the aha moment I learned is when we are doing a squat. So usually when I do the squat, I tend to gripping the muscle around the ankle and the leg. But one day we learned you can actually releasing the leg into gravity. Then you can even palpate yourself to feel in front of the ankle. A lot of muscle here, they don't necessarily need to work. The gravity actually can help you go into this position. So it's much easier to releasing into the gravity instead of using your muscle subconsciously or unconsciously just to gripping too much. So after I realized this, then I also using this principle to many other exercise. Another thing I want to share is not only I feel in my body, I also can feel more outside the environment I use when I do exercise. For example, if I'm pressing this ring, when I used to do, I will feel which muscle I'm using, I'm squeezing the ring and how much the force I use. But now when I do the same thing, I can feel the texture of this pedal into my hand. Then when I press it gently, how much the reaction force coming back through the rings, through my arm, to my body, maybe even to my feet. And then I can also feel when I do this movement, how my breathing participate. So it's opened up a whole new world for me. And also when I'm teaching, I can share the experience I got to my client. So I'm really happy and appreciate to come here for this training. Now I got my torch. hopefully in the future you will get your touch. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kristen, and I've just completed this year's Passing the Torch program with Wendy here at Pilates Center of Austin with my wonderful colleagues. And I chose to discuss this exercise because this is when I originally was introduced to Wendy 12 or 13 years ago, when I'd had a couple of car accidents and a couple of children, and I was in a lot of pain and tension. And back then, Wendy gave me an incredible gift, and now all these years later, it's been really amazing to be able to continue to deepen that conversation and see how what I learned those years ago still informs not just my Pilates practice and my teaching, but the way I live my life. So when I was 12 or 13 years ago, I'd had a lot of tension and pain, and I thought that if I worked harder and got stronger and stretched more, I would feel better. And what Wendy taught me is that I needed to soften and release and drop the weight of my body and trust the innate biointelligence of my system. So here on the Cadillac, those years ago, she taught me to trust the feeling of allowing my spine to drop into the Cadillac and naturally feel the lift up the front. No pain, no tension, just allowing. And the interesting thing about it that I remember is that not only did I feel so much better, so much more release, but I also became aware of much deeper activation of my deeper muscles. So that's the really wonderful juxtaposition of ease and effort, that when I allow myself to drop and release and trust my biointelligence, then my deepest muscles come online in a really wonderful way. So now that I've been exploring this all these years, it's just a new level of deepening to feel the waterfall down my back and feel the weight into my heels, feel my shoulder blades to low, deep belly, and that allows me to be extremely free in my neck and my legs, and it's pretty wonderful. So I just wanted to remember that moment that changed my life, started me on this path, and here I am at the end of the year with Wendy and my friends, but I also know that it's really just a new beginning of integrating into my work as a Pilates teacher and just my awareness in the world. So that's been my experience. Thanks.
My name is Jana, and I am finishing up the year of Passing the Torch with Wendy and my fellow classmates for the year at the Pilates Center of Austin. It has been a transformative year. I have changed professionally and personally. I'm open in so many more ways, but one of the most significant things for me was coming off of being a physical therapist, being a Pilates instructor. Breath is supposed to be our main focus. It's such an important thing. But I'd had a lot of injuries to my upper back. And like a lot of my clients, I found that we were living in this place of working really hard to breathe that was just generating so much tension in our neck and upper back. So the practice of hanging has changed my upper back. It has gotten me in touch with deep release so that I'm no longer forcing a big inhale trying to get an exhale, but there's a place of relaxation. And I found that with my work with clients, they walk out differently because maybe for the first time in a very long time, they're tapping into a deep sense of relaxation. And so much of that has been made possible through just the simple act of hanging. And part that was so interesting to me, I tried so hard muscularly to always hold myself up and to grip. And once again, it got me the exact opposite reaction of what I wanted. But through Wendy's work, I realized sometimes you can just let yourself go. And I'm not worried that maybe my shoulder blades slid up just a little bit, but I could actually be here and think, I'm a little tight in my pinkies. My forearms are tight. But I would start to get this connection. And then when I found I was progressing to full weight hanging, it wasn't a weak muscle. It was my fascia, and it was my chest, sometimes shaking, that would start to let go. And so little by little by little, I worked finding how my deep belly connected to my shoulder blades. My deep belly held me. And so hanging from a bar became supported and even kind of free and playful and not just something I was always trying to do that made me have more and more knots underneath my shoulder blades. And then the beautiful benefit of this is that sometimes I'll be out on a long walk and I'll hang on the playground right before I get home and I start walking more buoyantly. It's when you start to find a different fascial connection in your body, it lifts you and it gives you freedom even in your lower body, even from the ground up. And so whether you need a good deep breath, or as we age, we want to still be able to unscrew the lids of our jars by keeping a good connection with our hands, or whether you just want to have a little spring in your step on the way home from your walk, hanging has been really powerful for me.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm just finishing up the Passing the Torch program with Wendy. And so much of the work in embodied work that has really spoken to me has come from the feeling of spiraling through the body and how everything we do and all our movement comes from a spiral. One of the exercises I particularly like are the tensegrity spirals. And what I've done is I've taken them with the leg springs. And so then the spring is also informing that spiral. So we have all this nice length, and then we can take that into nice rotation, and you find the spring helping to support and helping to find the length. And it just becomes a really lovely, yummy movement. And you can find all that support that you don't necessarily always find without the spring. And the spring just gives you a little extra added reach. And then when you come back up, you have this nice connection through, and there's your whole body.